Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. Since most American chip giants can obtain huge revenue returns in the Chinese market, Intel has more than 30% of its revenue from China, and Qualcomm has even more, with up to 60% of its revenue contributed by the Chinese market. These are just the tip of the iceberg. U.S. companies have earned countless wealth, but a U.S. ban has forced China to be self-sufficient in chips. Just like the emergence of Huawei's Kirin 9000S chip, this will cause Qualcomm to lose huge chip orders. Unable to bear it anymore, after the birth of Kirin 9000S, Qualcomm once again fell into a massive layoff crisis, and Bill Gates' words came true. The Kirin 9000S chip triggered a chain reaction in the United States. The Kirin 9000 chip released by Huawei in 2020 is produced and manufactured by TSMC. TSMC uses a large amount of American technology, so from the moment TSMC complies with American chip rules, the two parties are destined to part ways. After September 25, 2020, TSMC can no longer continue to manufacture Kirin chips for Huawei, and Huawei has entered a state of depleting inventory. In order to maintain normal business operations, Huawei joined the Qualcomm Snapdragon chip camp, but it can only obtain Qualcomm's 4G processors and cannot purchase the most advanced 5G chips. Just when the outside world thought that the Kirin chip would become the swan song, at the end of August this year, a brand new Kirin 9000S came to everyone with the launch of Mate 60 Pro. After in-depth analysis of this chip at home and abroad, one thing that can be determined is that the chip is produced in mainland China. Even if Huawei doesn't mention anything about the Kirin 9000S chip, you can still know that Huawei has made huge efforts. The focus is on the chain reaction caused by the Kirin 9000S chip. Qualcomm, as Huawei's exclusive mobile SoC chip supplier for the past 2 years, has inevitably been directly affected. According to a survey by well-known analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, Qualcomm may reduce SoC shipments next year by 50 to 60 million units due to the emergence of Kirin 9000S chips, and the decline will continue. Qualcomm finally got help from the United States and won Huawei chip orders. However, in just a few years, Qualcomm was about to lose Huawei's order cooperation. Moreover, the market share of other mobile phone manufacturers is occupied by Huawei's new phones, and Qualcomm's orders from other mobile phone manufacturers will also be significantly reduced. Under the chain reaction, Qualcomm seems to be unable to bear it. After the global consumer electronics demand slumped and Huawei conquered the Kirin 9000S chip, Qualcomm's pressure doubled, and the main measure to alleviate operating pressure was to lay off employees. According to Qualcomm's official announcement, it will conduct large-scale layoffs in its California office, involving 1,258 people. The layoffs will begin in mid-December this year. Qualcomm is laying off a wide range of positions, including Vice President of Engineering, business analysts, product managers, etc. From ordinary employees to senior executives, almost everyone is within the scope of layoffs. It can be seen that Qualcomm is not just making trouble, but is determined to lay off employees. In fact, Qualcomm's layoffs are not unexpected at all, and there may even be further layoffs in the future. Because since the demand for consumer electronics has declined, Qualcomm's financial reports have frequently been thunderous. Qualcomm's second quarter financial report this year showed that revenue was $9.275 billion, a year-on-year decrease of 17%, and net profit was $1.704 billion, a year-on-year decrease of 42%. Qualcomm's performance has declined sharply, both month-on-month and year-on-year. This is still the situation where Qualcomm continues to ship chips to Huawei. If it loses all orders from Huawei's Snapdragon next year, and other mobile phone manufacturers cannot compete with Huawei, causing Qualcomm's shipments to plummet, we can foresee what kind of dark moment Qualcomm will have in 2024. The most profitable smartphone chip sales business may become a source of pain for Qualcomm, so Qualcomm's massive layoffs are inevitable. Since the beginning of this year, Qualcomm has continued to hear rumors of layoffs, and it will only get worse in the future. Bill Gates' words came true. The birth of Kirin 9000S is a manifestation of China's self-sufficiency in chips. Huawei manufactured this chip in mainland China, and it was still able to manufacture the chip despite the severe chip blockade in the United States. If Huawei did not have sufficient controllability, it would not act in this way. Just imagine, if Kirin 9000S was made in violation of US chip regulations, wouldn't it give the United States a legitimate reason to increase sanctions? It can only explain one thing: the development of the domestic chip manufacturing industry has reached a point where the United States cannot stop it. On one side is the self-sufficiency of Kirin 9000S, and on the other side is Qualcomm's massive layoffs. These situations are the same as what Bill Gates said at the beginning. Bill Gates opposes the United States not selling chips to China, believing that this will force China to be self-sufficient, and will also cause the United States to lose many high-paying jobs. Bill Gates' words have come true. China chip, represented by Huawei, is constantly strengthening its self-sufficiency capabilities. In the future, it will form an industrial chain model integrating design, manufacturing, packaging and testing in mainland China, making the industry bigger and stronger, and getting rid of the United States. Rules-bound. As for the United States, it is now in a situation where companies are laying off employees and people are unemployed. If the United States cannot amend its rules in time and liberalize chip shipments, in the future, when Chinese chips no longer depend on US imports, the United States will realize that the money in the Chinese market is not so good earned. It used to be a seller's market, but in the future it will be a buyer's market. China has the final say on whether to use American chips or not. Of course, China's chips still have a long way to go. The United States is still the world's top chip country. In addition, the United States, the Netherlands, and Japan have reached an agreement involving a series of software and hardware such as photolithography machines, photoresists, and EDA industrial software. Technology. China still needs to make steady progress and conquer more cores to form a prosperous localized industry.